So we're joined today by the athletic director of Merrimack College, Joe Foley. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time and sitting down with me today.
Thanks, Jack. Great to be here.
Absolutely. We're joined here at Lawler Arena, the home of the Warriors. So we got a pretty good setup going here. And I've just been so excited to talk to you. So thank you so much. How is everything?
Everything's going well. Busy time of year as always. You know, the winter sports have now wrapped up. Spring sports are well underway. Semester's winding down. A lot going on, but a lot to be excited about.
Nice. Speaking of the semester winding down and, hockey, basketball, that's all done with for the year. Do things kind of slow down or is it endless?
They never slow down. It might be different things that we're working on from different times of the year. But as soon as basketball and hockey end, we're already starting to think about basketball and hockey for next year. So we're happy that our teams won a championship. We celebrate that for about 24 hours, and we go right to work on the next, getting ready for the next season. We're selling into football now. We're planning out what basketball and hockey are going to look like for next year, and we're trying to make sure that our spring sports are going to continue to do well. And fundraising is never ending. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. Getting out, meeting with people, and trying to raise the money we need to support our students.
Gotcha. Well, first I just want to thank you because speaking from at least a student's perspective, but I think I can speak for a lot of people, I think everything's just improved even in your short time here, whether it be on the field, on the ice, on the court, or, the athletic communications, or whether it be, the game day experience for students and fans. I mean, that's a huge thing. I just want to thank you for all you've done because I think it's been tremendous.
I appreciate you saying that. There's a lot of really great people who work really hard to make those successful things happen. And it starts with our students who are student athletes who work really, really hard and are deserving of all that support. And then the community, our staff, all the people I get to go to work with every day, to our leadership at the college. Working for President Hope, he's been phenomenal. He's so supportive of athletics. Our board of trustees the same way. And so it's fun to be a part of a really awesome team that's got things moving in the right direction, but we're only just getting started. We got a long way to go. We got even more fun ahead of us, and I can't wait for that.
I love it. And so obviously you've had a lot of experience in college athletics. You came over here from TCU, spent a lot of time at Penn State, you were at Maryland, you were at Boston College. Being around those, high profile Power 5 schools, what have you learned during your time there that you knew you had to bring over to Merrimack to just help the athletics thrive and evolve?
Yeah, I learned a lot from each of those steps along the way. I had the good fortune of always being surrounded by great people, and that's probably step one. I've worked for really talented, impressive people. I've learned how important that holistic commitment to excellence is, and that's everything we do is worth doing our best and doing really, really well at a high level. And I bring that to Merrimack, knowing that we can be as good as anybody else out there, and we want to pursue excellence. We want to be competing for conference championships and in NCAA tournaments and ultimately for national championships. We want to be doing our best in the classroom. We want our kids to be outstanding students and great community citizens. We want to be the best at everything we do. And I had the good fortune of being at places that won national championships at each of those stops that you said. And I know what championship culture looks like, and that's what we're trying to create here.
Okay, I just want to ask you first, why did you want to come to Merrimack? What stood out about the opportunity, and what's your overall goal, your mission, your vision here at Merrimack?
Well, I learned a lot about Merrimack during the interview process. I didn't know as much as you might think I would have. I learned a lot, and I saw that the trajectory that this school's on. I admired and continue to admire President Hope's leadership and how he's helped grow the college. I saw where athletics was, where it's come from, where it is today, and what it could be. And I see nothing but potential. I think we're barely scratching the surface of how great we really can be here. And I know that infusing resources into a program like Merrimack Athletics will help it achieve that. And a lot of my background's been in that revenue-generating fundraising space. And so I knew that this was a place that can be unbelievable if we do some things to help infuse the resources it needs. And I thought that my skills might align well with what would help it get there. And so I'm excited. I see Merrimack College as a rocket ship that's been taken off for a while, and I see athletics now as a chance to really do that too. And I'm excited for where we are right now, but where we're going, it's pretty cool.
I love it. You mentioned culture. Can you just describe the culture of Merrimack Athletics, whether it be what you came into or what you're trying to establish or what you have established? Can you just describe the culture?
Yeah, it's championship culture, and to me that means believing that we deserve to be and can be as great as we want to be. Right, believing deep down in our hearts that we are here to do great things, and we can do great things. It won't be easy. We're gonna work really, really hard. Merrimack people are gritty. We work our butts off for what we get. Nothing's given to us. We earn it. But we work hard. We aspire to be great. We're great to each other. We're a culture that cares about the community that we're a part of. That's inherent in our Augustinian values, and we're audacious. We have a lot of fun. We work hard, but we have fun. I oftentimes joke that our culture is a little bit like the mullet, right? Business in front, but party in the back, right? We want to work hard. We want to take care of the business at hand, but we want to have fun while we're doing it too, right? We're not curing cancer. We're not curing COVID. We're here to give young people a chance to get a great education and play sports at a high level, and that should be and can be a lot of fun, and we want to do that.
I love it. So you talked about, winning national championships and knowing what a championship DNA and a championship culture is. Looking at, the Boston, New England area, it's obviously a huge pro sports area. Yeah. But it kind of lacks that prominent, sports school. Boston College is supposed to kind of be that, and you've been at Boston College. But especially with, the big sports, football, basketball, and just overall all sports, how do you feel like Merrimack can kind of fill that gap that New England and Boston may not have right now and ignite some excitement about college sports in the area?
Yeah, we don't want to be like anybody else. At the end of the day, we want to be the very best Merrimack we can be, and we believe that if we do that and do that well, we will be the preeminent sports program in New England and in the Northeast. UConn's done a nice job down in Stores with the number of their programs, but outside of that, it's really ours for the taking, right? And we should be going after that. We think we should be creating a championship culture that should compete in the postseason in most of our sports, if not all of our sports. We play 28 sports. Some of those sports are more highly visible than others, like football, basketball, and ice hockey. And we want to be competing for championships. And we know that we have the chance to do that. We know that we think we can get after it. We can grab it. We have we saw at the Garden this past last month, whatever it was, all these days are running together. We saw the passion that people have for Merrimack, and when we're doing well, they come out of the woodworks. And we're playing in the Garden with, let's see, BC was there, UConn was there, UMass was there, two big state schools, and BC with all the history they've had. And here we are in Merrimack. We had more fans than any one of them, and that's the potential this has. If we're as great as we know we can be, it's going to bring this whole community together, and we're going to be we're going to be the preeminent program in the Northeast for Division I college athletics. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we want to be.
I absolutely love it, and that's the goal. What do you think the steps that you've taken so far to kind of set onto that goal, and then what do you see ahead for the future, whether it be in the next year, next 2 years, whatever it may be? What do you think we have done, and what do you think we still need to do?
Yeah, I think it starts with people, right? We've got great leadership. We've got great coaches like Joe Gallo, Scott Borick. We've added unbelievable coaches like Missy and Courtney Kennedy, and I know that we have with great leadership. They're going to attract great student athletes, right? They're going to recruit the best and brightest to come here and represent our school. We've got some work ahead of us on the facility front because those great people need the resources to develop and meet their full potential. So we've got to raise some money for facilities. We also need to raise some money to help make sure that those coaches have what they need to be able to recruit the best and brightest kids here, right? We don't necessarily need to be paying the most money out of any school, but we need to be in the game. We need to make sure we're paying a competitive market rate for talent today. That's part of college athletics nowadays. But we think that with great leadership, give them the resources they need to compete at the highest level, we should be able to excel. We've got unbelievable support on campus. President Hopi, the Board of Trustees, they believe in athletics. They know what athletics does for Merrimack. They know what it does for the entire community. So we've got their support. Continued support from the community will help us get there, and I think we'll continue to be as great as we know we can be.
Awesome. Do you think, is there anything special about Merrimack that can help Merrimack take that? Obviously there are bigger schools with a lot more money to work with, as you mentioned. In this new era of college sports with NIL and the transfer portal, and you've been in the game for so long, so you've seen it without it and you've seen it now with it. What is special about Merrimack that can help you compete, whether it be financials or not?
Yeah, hands down, it's our people, right? I mean, people at Merrimack are distinctly proud. They care a lot about this place. and they care a lot about each other. It's again, I mentioned this earlier, but the community that the Augustinians and the Augustinian values enforce, the community that we have here is something special and unique. And so I think our people is what separate us. And our people, when you're on a job interview and you're interviewing with somebody from Merrimack, I think you got a foot in the door. I think you got to step ahead of other people because Merrimack people look out for one another. I've picked up on that pretty quickly since I've been here. Merrimack people care about one another. They're supportive. When our teams are doing great, they pack Lawler Arena. They pack the Boston Garden, the TD Garden, the Fleet Center, whatever it's called nowadays. Our people come out and they get behind our teams, and so I think maybe what our secret weapon is the people and how much they care about this place and how supportive they are.
I love it, and I totally agree. Talking about that game day atmosphere that you've improved so much, what did you see when you got here in terms of the fan and the student experience on game days, and what in your eyes have you done to improve it?
With game day, I think I saw a few things. I saw a community of people that were willing to support Merrimack and interested in supporting Merrimack. And on the other hand, I saw student athletes that were incredibly deserving of support. And I just felt like there had to be a way to bring it all together, right? And it started with investment and enhancements to our strategic communications, right? And are we getting our story told? Are we getting out there social media-wise? And we've invested in that. And I think we're doing a much better job of being present and in a fashion that people want to consume us, which today's day and age is largely social media. We're telling our story, and we also had the good fortune of working with some donors who were able to step up and provide the resources so that we could have cool giveaways like TVs and Xboxes and things that students want, as well as help fund things like halftime performances from Red Panda and Scooby and Christian and Scooby, the dog show that we had here, and the Air Elite Dunkers doing the slam dunks. Those things all cost money, right? And so we had the good fortune of some donor support. We knew we had a community that was interested in getting more engaged if we reached out and got to know people and asked people to come support our students. And of course, we had students who were deserving of it. We had championship caliber basketball and hockey teams, and we know that if we brought it all together, it could be successful. And fortunately, we have really talented staff who work their butts off to be able to bring all that together and make it happen. And at the end, I think what we created was an experience people really enjoyed and wanted to keep coming back from. So it started with us asking people to come check this out, and as the season went on, it turned into they were excited about it. And then it's not just us promoting it on social media, but they're promoting it amongst themselves on social media, and it became I don't know if viral is the right word for it, but it started kind of spreading, and people started really getting into it, and that really matters because we didn't lose a game at home this year in basketball, for example, and we won a conference championship. We're going to get to hang a couple of banners in here next year as a result of that, and I can tell you right now, we don't win some of those games without that kind of crowd here providing the support our kids need. And so it all kind of helps itself out there. That Siena game that we won in overtime, for example, I believe in the bottom of my heart that our fans scored us a few baskets in that game to win that for us. So it was awesome. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, barely scratching the surface. We're just getting started. Next year it's going to be even more fun. More to come. I can't tell you what now, but we've got some cool ideas that we're going to surprise people with next year.
I love it. And as a sports fan, I mean, we know momentum is real. Having that home crowd is real. So I thank you for that because it's been huge.
Absolutely.
Real quick, it's coming up on a year now that you've been at Merrimack College. How has the transition been for you and for your family?
Oh, it's been a blast. We've really enjoyed being here. My kids go to school at St. Augustine's Catholic School, about a mile and a half from here. We live right in Andover. It's been so much fun. My kids ride their bike around campus. I've loved getting to know everybody here at Merrimack. I love learning more about the college. I've loved getting to meet people in the community, and what's been kind of fun for us is and eye-opening to me in this job has been to see how many people, like at my kids' sporting events and whatnot, who are saying, "Oh, we have a Division I program right here in town. I had no idea." And so to be able to invite people out and to educate them on that, and then they're telling everybody else. And so I think it's been a lot of fun to get to know the community, to be a part of it. My family's really enjoyed it, and then to also be able to invite people to come to our games and check it out, and then they're telling their friends. And as we're seeing these crowds grow, it's fun to see more people we know in the community, kids from our kids' school, kids from our kids' sporting events, all coming out and being supportive. It's been a blast. It's been a ton of fun. Loving it here. Like I said, I think we're just getting started. We got a long way to go. I think we have enormous potential. We need to continue to do more of that. Just our whole department, get out in the community, build relationships, get to know people, and invite them to come be a part of all the great things that are happening here, because it is a lot of fun.
I love it. How do your kids love those post-game pressers with Joey Gallo and whatnot?
they probably more than they should. And our coaches are always gracious. They always let my kids ask a question at the end of those press conferences, and they usually ask the same ones. But they're having a lot of fun. They kind of think they're the athletic director of Merrimack right now, and it's their world, and I'm just living in it, and they're probably right,
That's amazing.
But it's so much fun. It's a blast.
That's amazing. I want to ask, you talked about it a little bit. You recently made 2 high-profile head coaching hires with Courtney Kennedy for women's hockey and with women's basketball, Missy Traversi. What do the women's programs mean to you and to Merrimack, and what do you expect from those two at the helm of each program?
We have 28 sports, men or women. They're all important to me, and I want all of them to be excellent. I happen to have 2 sisters who are college athletes as well, and I don't think the women's sports should ever play second fiddle to the men's sports. I think I really believe that we're providing this experience to help develop young people to be future leaders and help them find the best versions of themselves. And we need to do that to the very best of our ability for as many students as we can. And so I believe that our women's teams should be great, and we're investing heavily in them. And we didn't get pretty good coaches. We got amazing coaches. We got really, really good coaches in both Courtney and in Missy. They're both unbelievable leaders. They're recruiting really, really well. They know their games. They know how to develop students. They know how to develop athletes, and they know how to win at a high level. And so I'm excited about those 2 programs in particular, but because I know that they're both going to do really, really great things. I think historically, women's hockey here, we haven't won at a very high level, and winning matters. We're preparing students to thrive in a competitive world, and we need to do that in a way that allows them to thrive in competitive athletics now, and so that they can taste success, that when they go out in the world, and whether that's just being spouses, parents, people, leaders in their business community, leaders in their lives, that they've tasted success before. They know what it means to win, and that's important. And so we've got Courtney, who's going to come in and jolt some energy into that program, and it's going to take off, right? And then women's basketball has been climbing under Kelly's leadership, and I'm grateful to her for everything she did. But I think it's well poised now for Missy to take it to the next level as well. I mean, Missy Traversi has an unbelievable background. Everywhere she's been a winner, and I know that their program is going to take off as well. She's recruiting some incredibly talented kids right now from all over the world, literally from all over the world. And so I'm excited for how she's going to build upon everything that Kelly did for this program and take it to the next level. But yeah, we want them to be elite. We don't just want to participate. We want to win in all those sports, because we think winning is important.
Absolutely. And you proved that last year. I mean, speaking of winning, men's hockey had, I think it's fair to say, the best season in program history, winning the first ever Hockey East Championship in school history. I mean, and I have to mention, in your first year as athletic director, how does that feel? And can you just kind of speak on that achievement?
I'm just so proud of Scott and the guys on the team for doing that. It's an incredible accomplishment. I don't know if they know the impact that that's had on this community at large. I mean, I've heard from so many alumni who've talked to me about how they've reconnected with friends from college just because this moment inspired that for them. To reach out to an old friend that they hadn't talked to in a long time. And so it's bringing the community together again, as we've said, and how important that is. I think Scott's done an incredible job. I'm so proud of him. I think his leadership is where this starts and ends, and being able to provide him with the resources and the ability to do what he does well has really played a role in helping him be successful. And he recruits high talented kids. He develops them. He's got a good game plan every week, every game, and he does a great job. Knowing that the culture matters, championship culture matters, and he's got that in his program, no question about it. So.
Another program that's winning and bringing people back together. I got the opportunity to write a story on Wimpy's Warriors, if you've heard of them, back from the 60s and the 70s. I mean, a bunch of guys from the old Merrimack basketball teams were here supporting the team. They meet up every year. They got back together with the winning going on. And so, yeah, I mean, both teams are bringing guys back together. And men's basketball has the best record in the MAC through 2 seasons since joining. And they made it all the way to the conference championship game this past season, one game away from March Madness. Can you kind of explain to me how have they been able to have this much success, and what do you see for the future?
Joe Gallo's a great coach. He's got an ability to evaluate talent like nobody else. I mean, the recruits that he brings in that turn into all-conference players seems to be like an annual thing, but people should remember that it's really hard to do, right? But he does it at an exceptional level, and he develops them. He's also got a system. He's got a system that people don't like preparing for, which is exactly what we need in this league, right, to be competitive. So Joe's a unicorn. He's got something unique and special that it's really hard to emulate and repeat, which is what separates him and his ability to do this job at a high level. The nature of college basketball right now is such that teams are turning over. I think I heard somebody tell me that more than 50% of college basketball players have entered the transfer portal this year. So rosters are just turning over rapidly, right? So Joe has to do this each and every year, but he happens to be really good at finding good kids. He happens to be really good at recruiting. He builds great relationships with these young men who are really good players, and he stays in touch with them long after. It's more than just what they do on the court for him. He builds genuine, sincere relationships. People want to play for him, and that perpetuates itself. And the next generation of kids hear how good he was to a Bud Clark or to a Courtney Kennedy, and then they want to come back and be the next name on that list. And so he does an incredible job. We need to keep giving him the resources we can. We need to keep showing him the love. I think this whole community has demonstrated they love Joe Gallo in lots of ways, probably most specifically by wearing T-shirts that say "I love Joe Gallo" in the student section. But he deserves it for everything he's done for Merrimack during his 10 years coaching here, and we hope he'll be here for many more. Absolutely.
Every single year, with the new era of college sports, you're losing guys. People get nervous. What are we going to do? I just keep telling people, I mean, if you've learned anything from being at Merrimack College, you have Joe Gallo. There is no need to worry. You are going to win games.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a winning program.
It's a new era, right? And yes, the transfer portal is a real part of college athletics. And the reality, though, is if you treat your kids well, you can become winners in the transfer portal. And he's shown that year in, year out. And that's what Merrimack does. It treats kids really, really well. Kids want to come here. We're having great atmospheres in our arenas. We are in the revenue sharing space, so we are able to pay kids. Not maybe not as much as the high end programs, but people are able to get a scholarship and make a little extra money by being an athlete here. And the campus life in general is great. Students who come to Merrimack have fun. They enjoy being here. They get a great education. The cafeteria is a great place to socialize and to eat, and everything about campus life here is really enjoyable. And I think, in a day and age where students can transfer freely each year, you want to be the kind of school that kids like going to. And Merrimack's got that kind of that cool factor, that it factor, where kids want to go to school, where people want to go to school, and we've got that going for us. So that's kind of a positive for us with the transfer portal environment.
Absolutely. I mean, you go to hit a lift on the campus gym, and all the basketball players are in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Real quick, how do you feel about how the football program is coming along? Obviously, you've got the Wake Forest game next year, Tarleton State, Delaware, some good games. Coach Giannetti, awesome things going on there. Spring game tonight.
Yeah. Really proud of Coach Kennedy and everything he's doing with the program. We've invested heavily in that over the past year as well. We've put resources into the salary pool. We've hired 2 extra assistant coaches to help them recruit top talent kids, top talent players. We put a new locker room in for them. We're going to be doing some enhancements to the stadium in the years to come. We want to build that out and create more of a home field advantage for football, just like we've been able to do for basketball and we've seen for hockey. And so I love everything he's doing. I think he's a great leader of young men. I think he does a terrific job, holds the guys accountable. He gets good players in here. It's the challenge he has is not being in a conference, right? And so it's always going to be, it is a priority for us, and it's always going to be a priority until we find ourselves a conference to join. And it's not for lack of effort. We're talking to all the right leagues, and we want to get into a conference. But it's really hard to advance in the postseason or to even make the postseason in FCS football without being in a league. And it's hard to schedule. We like playing a lot of these teams, but it's hard to schedule without being in a league. So we aspire to be in one, and we hope to be in one in the near future. And until then, we're gonna embrace being an independent, non-conference independent member of FCS football. But that creates a challenge for him that he's done a nice job working through thus far. Yeah, you mentioned some big games. I mean, we're playing at Wake Forest next year, an ACC opponent. We're playing at Delaware, who is also an FBS opponent and a really good one. And then we're playing down at Tarleton State in Texas, and outside of Fort Worth, where Tarleton State advanced deep in the FCS postseason last year. Interestingly, they're a school that went Division I the same year we did, right? But they've got huge influx of resources down there, down in Texas. They've got oil money that help fund their intercollegiate athletics program. And so it'll be neat for us to go down and see another school that started around the same time as us and how they're able to do it and how we're able, and we'll see where we stack up and perhaps learn something from what they're doing and maybe get out there and get a win out of it,
Awesome. I just kind of want to give you the floor. Is there anything else you want people to know about you or about Merrimack College athletics?
I'm just really excited about everything we're doing. I think, we aspire to have a really great program. We want to win at everything we do. We want our football, basketball, hockey programs to pack the house and to capture the attention that college athletics should be able to do. And it takes a whole community to do that, right? And so I encourage people to be as supportive as they possibly can. And support means a lot of different things, right? Maybe it's just following our programs on social media, whether it's our Instagram or Twitter, or maybe it's getting friends and buying tickets and come out to a game, or maybe it's becoming a donor and making a donation to help fund scholarships or facility improvements. There's all different kinds of ways, or maybe it's just wear a Merrimack sweatshirt and talk positively about us around the workplace or schools or whatever you might do. But there's lots of ways to just show support and be a part of this. It's going to be a lot. It's been a lot of fun this first year, but it's going to be even more and more to come. This is going to be, playing for conference championships is going to be something we start making a regular thing here, and getting in NCAA tournaments and competing for national championships is something we're going to be doing soon. And I encourage you to get on board because this is going to be a fun, fast-moving train, and we're going to have a blast. And I just hope that as many people will be a part of that as can, and I think they'll be glad they did.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for what's ahead. Can't thank you enough for your time, Joe.
Jack, you've done a lot for us all year. I appreciate all the coverage. Appreciate you coming out and supporting our teams and our student athletes, and keep up the great work you're doing. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, Joe.